Hey team, this is Doug here, and I wanted to record some videos just to give you some insight into the work that I'm doing on our MDM server project. And I'm sure that most of you listening to this know exactly what I'm talking about, so I'm not really going to spend a lot of time now giving the background of what this is all about. But just in summary, we are coming up with a simpler way to do demos and POCs, more configurable, more flexible, better UI. And what I wanted to show you is some of the techniques and tools that I think can get us there. And again, I'm not going to go into all the detail, just want to let you see some of the artifacts and get an idea of where this could go. So I'm going to do 3 videos. The first video, I'm going to show you a modeling tool. And that's what I'm going to call up now as I'm speaking here. This is a modeling tool for defining sets of attributes that we want to include into our demos. It's very easy to use. It's very flexible. That's the first video. It's just really to kind of look at this tool here. The second video is I'm going to show the execution of 3 different web services in this environment. So again, without going into all the detail, I'm working in an environment here on my laptop it's called WebSphere sMash. So it's a runtime for these Web 2.0 kinds of applications, and it's got some tooling for building them and so forth. I'm going to run some web services here that are going to call MDM server transactions. That's the second video. And then the third video is I'm going to use some tools in this environment to create a nice screen, which will then call those web services in the background. But first here, let's just focus on defining the sets of attributes. So I'm going to build a demo around person. That's one of the core entities in MDM server. And so whenever we do demos, you have to define what attributes you want to show, how they're going to be presented on the screen, and so forth. And this is a tool that will allow you to do a lot of that stuff visually. So you can see first name, last name, phone, email, gender, social security number, and so forth. Some additional fields. Now if I wanted to insert a field, I could just come in, position my cursor where I wanted to do the insert, and then select the data type, whether it's string, boolean, date, or whatever. So that's how I created all of these fields here. So you can see that in addition to just defining these names, and I could type right in here to enter this information, there are some additional fields or pieces of information about each of the attributes. Again, just the name of the attribute itself, its label, which can be a human-friendly label, and then other fields defining whether or not it's required, giving it a default value, giving it some additional description. There's some additional more advanced properties, maximum length, various formats for things like dates or email addresses or phone numbers and so forth, and various choices around the options, valid options for this attribute. That's how you set the properties. So you create all of this information visually. One thing I want to show you is that under the covers, this tool is actually saving this information in something that's called a JSON file. JSON is the extension of the file. That stands for JavaScript Object Notation, and it's just a very convenient standard way, something certainly much simpler than XML, that allows you to define name-value pairs, lists, and hash maps. This is actually the notation that, this is the way that JavaScript, for example, would represent these objects. And so you can see here's the list of, the fields, the field names, and the various properties that, that are defined for each of the attributes. So if I were going to do a demo, this would be the first place I would start. I would define my resource. So in terminology of this environment, this is actually a resource model. And so a resource we can think of as something like a person or a contract or a company, an organization. We're going to define attributes about it around that, around that resource. I can define as many as I want. I could eliminate some of the ones that I have here. And through the configuration that we're able to do, we can point each of these back to MDM server attributes, but again, there doesn't have to be a one-to-one mapping. We can certainly make this a much more simplified view, which is really the intent when we're doing these kinds of demos. I think that's it for now. I think I just wanted to give you a flavor of how we would define those attributes, which I've done. I'm going to then proceed on to a second video where I'm going to do some web services, invoke some web services with this model.